I'm running because I think that our government and our legislature should have accountability to its people. My name is Laurel Libby. I am an Auburn resident. We've lived here for 10 years. We love living in Auburn. Well, I was born and raised in Maine. I grew up, I would say, mainly in a small town called Cornish. As a 12-year-old, I had my first business called Home Art, and I sold my homemade cards at this little craft fair in Cornish. So I have really fond memories of my childhood there. Growing up in Maine was pretty awesome. I had decided back in 8th grade that I wanted to be a nurse, and it was because I read an article about a woman who did disaster relief. She worked in a refugee camp as a nurse, and that's when I decided to become a nurse. So doing the disaster relief work was a fulfillment of that dream that I'd had for a really long time. I'm a Christian, I'm a mom, I am a wife, I have 5 crazy kids. One is grown and out of the house already. The others are between 3 and 10 years of age. And so it's a busy but fun house. We do. We have 3 chickens, and they love them most of the time. They don't love necessarily taking care of them, but that's a good life lesson for them too. We've had a lot of fun conversations about politics in Maine, actually, and that's been really fun to have those interactions with my kids. I own my own business. It's an interior decorating and real estate staging business, Dawson Interiors, and it's been an adventure owning my own business, but it's been a really fun one. In my family, a budget is really important. We make X amount of money, so we can't spend above that. There's not a magic pot of money that just appears if we go over a budget at the end of the month. And in Augusta, I'm seeing a lack of accountability for sticking to a budget. We need to save money that's designated for a rainy day fund for a rainy day and not spend it when the sun is still shining. We should not be passing bills and laws that we don't know where the money's going to come from. The government is not separate from the people, but it is we the people, and that we should have a voice in Augusta. Over the last year, I went to a number of hearings in Augusta. I was concerned as a mom and as a nurse that Maine people were not being listened to. So I went and I spoke at a number of hearings, and I watched others speak at various hearings on different bills. And I never felt like Maine people were heard or listened to. The hearings were just so they could say they had a hearing and heard Maine people, but didn't really listen. And bills were passed into law regardless of what Maine people said. I want a Maine legislature that listens to Maine people. And I think that everyone in Maine should have a seat at the table, and that's what I want to bring to the Maine legislature, that every Maine person has a seat at the table and that their voices are heard.